Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Anything But Hold'em here on a Saturday evening. Having a bit of a mixed game theme today. Played some 10 game on full tilt earlier today. Busted eighth, but followed good friend of the stream, the UK Hammer, as went deep and came third in that tournament for a $15 score. So that was pretty sweet. Now I'm here in the 8 game at the PSO home game, or as I like to call it, the toughest micro stakes games on Stars. Pretty darn close to it, I think. Anyways, we're in the deuce to 7 phase now. Started a bit early. We've been playing for about 40 minutes now or so. Had some issues getting started, but I think we're up and running now. So hopefully we'll be kicking off here shortly and having some fun. Not the best hand in the world, deuce to 7 wise, but it is triple draw, so we got some time to get there. And deuce 4-6 is pretty decent. Ace 5, I think we're obviously drawing the ace here, keeping the rest and drawing 1, and we're going to be in pretty good shape a lot of times here, I believe. We're going to be in good enough shape here that we're going to put money in the pot at this point, actually, even though everybody else drew 2 last round as well. So I don't think any of us are in particularly good shape. 1-1-1. I'm pretty happy to go with my 4 low cards here. That's going to be a hand that I'm going to play pretty aggressively, I think, at this stage. We're going to want to put money in the pot with this. And Pat, our next hand, obviously, 76. You know, you're never drawing profitably into that. Take that one down without much difficulty. That's cool. Not going to get involved in this one. We're going to let that one go. Move along. So this has been a fun tournament. We're in event 44 now of 48 events. It's the 12 days of Christmas in the PokerStars or PokerSchool Online home game. So there's 12 days of events, 48 events in this one. Usually it's 40 day or a 40 event series, but this time because it's 12 days, there's the extra 8 games in there for the extra 2 days. I'm doing okay. I'm sitting 11th right now overall, I believe. No, actually, I am sitting 7th overall with 490 points. Plus, I have won one of these already today. So I'm going to get another 100 points on top of that, which is going to put me at 590. Which should put me somewhere in the top 5, I'm thinking, depending on how I do here on this one today. So yeah, doing okay. Gonna probably get a ticket again on this, which I'm fairly happy about. And should be doing fairly well in the yearly race as well. I think I'm got 7th place locked up in that for a free $11 ticket. So reasonably happy about that. Hammer, good evening. Good to see you back. This has got to be like 2 o'clock in the morning for you or some ridiculous thing like that, I'm thinking. 1 a.m., thank you very much. What is it, like 2 a.m., 1 a.m. for you? Don't see a lot of split pots in Deuce to 7. We just saw one on this table, 86543 versus 86543. I think this is one I'm gonna call and see, discard 1 into a nutty hand, get basically the same thing back, and check fold after the that. No, actually we're in triple draw. I keep forgetting this is triple draw, not single draw. I've been playing single draw in the 10 game a lot, so I had to compensate for that. Was playing single draw earlier, which is the one that I won earlier today. So, and that's even worse. We're probably going to check call and draw again because we are drawing, well, not to the nuts, but 76 is pretty close to the nuts. And I think we're check calling again and just giving Johnny chips if, nope, we're not giving Johnny chips. We're taking it. Johnny might complain about that because we were drawing for 3 rounds and calling him, but we were drawing with a significantly better hand than he had, so it's we were drawing to two much better cards. The situation in this one is 28 people registered, 27 currently remaining, so one person is already busted. My current position is 8th of 27. 5 places are going to get paid out. Up top is $1.13 for first. 5th is 22 cents, which is not too bad on an 11-cent buy-in. Fadian was our first person out. That's kind of unfortunate for Fad, but it happens sometimes. Probably in no limit hold'em phase, I'm thinking. It's the easiest time for it to happen. Sit in the middle of the pack, pretty happy with that. Still really early days. It's only it's only level 10. 5-minute structure, so it's going to go pretty fast through here, and I don't imagine this is going to last much beyond another hour to 2 hours tops. I think it's going to be a pretty quick game. I'm pretty sure, even with 28 people in it. The blinds and the bets are going to go up so much that we're all going to be, playing a quarter of our stack pretty quick, right off the first bets. We're up into 8160 for limit Omaha high low next, so Johnny's done for 27th now. Friend of the stream, Steve Opick, is sitting down at the bottom as well, unfortunately. 2:47 a.m. Well, I absolutely appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, because I know it's late for you. That is awesome that you're still up. I take it you've got a day you can have a bit of a lie-in for tomorrow, so that'll be good. It's good to have you here. Wonder if Josh is still up. You two are on the same time, I think. He's a UK guy as well. 7-8, I'm probably going to raise on the button here in limit hold'em. See how we respond. Allows me to keep my aggression rate up a little bit and, keep people on their toes. So I totally could have played that hand, of course, with all the straight draw possibilities in the middle. Um, and the flop looked really pretty for me as well. There was low draw possibilities coming in and everything. But at the end of the day, I'm going to lose so many of those lows. Um, and I'm going to brick out on so many of the highs that it's not going to pay off often enough for me to really uh, be involved with that, I don't think. So folding out there is just going to be the most effective play usually. Well, yeah, normally there wouldn't be an 11 cent 8 game hammer, but this is the home game, so we can set our own games and set what it is. It's the Poker School Online home game series, so the buy-ins are set relatively low, and we're actually playing not really for the prize pools at the end of the day, but we're playing for the Steve-O! How's it going, man? Playing for the mostly playing for the series prizes, which are 20. Like I got a $22 ticket in October when I won it. Get a 22 or an 11 or 330s or 220s and stuff like that. Um, we're gonna raise this. It's not a great high-low hand, obviously, but ending up heads up like that is probably worth playing some on. Rapidly losing value at this stage. I think we're just going to check fold, maybe a few bets, maybe check call. Hard to say. Pretty surprised I won that, actually, but hey, so it goes. Yeah, good luck to you, Steve-O, as well. I notice your stack is rather dwindled, so you must be getting pretty crappy stuff. Sucks to be down at the bottom, but hey, you got a chip and you got a chair still, so keep the hope alive. Keep the hope alive. Hammer was literally down to under 500 chips today in the 10 game and over at Tilt, and ended up coming third and making a very good showing, and could easily have taken the whole thing down, except for a couple of bad runs of cards in the last couple of hands that just went brutally. So can always happen. Keep hope alive, man. Keep hope alive. Ace deuce is always worth a raise in a high-low game, or almost always. Especially when you got a suit with the ace, that's going to make this a much stronger hand usually as well. You absolutely want to be involved. Paired our ace, there's not going to be, well, there might be a low. Our low is going to suck, but having a two pair makes our high just too strong to not put money in the pot with at this point. And if we split with a low, which it might happen, I suppose there's ace kings out there as well that I need to be a little cautious of, but there's not going to be enough ace kings out there for me to not be betting for value there, I don't think. Alrighty, we're hitting break. I'm gonna go take care of my duties, and I shall return. He said duty, and we shall return. We'll talk to you soon. Later. I am back. I am back. I am back. We have 2 minutes left on our break. Hanging out here on a Saturday evening, playing some 8 game over at PokerStars. In what I like to call the toughest microstakes game on Stars. There's almost certainly other home games with far better players in them. I don't think that there's a lot of other home games that play for 11 cents with better players in them. Some pretty darn tough guys fighting over 11 cents in this, and girls, I should say, and girls, and ladies in this home game fighting over 11-cent buy-ins. It's pretty intense. I do like the micro stakes game. Not that I wouldn't like to play for bigger stakes at some point in time. I mean, I think I certainly would at some point, but I do enjoy um, that I'm at a point in my life where I can play micro stakes poker and not really care a huge amount about the result, track the result as an academic thing as opposed to a profit or loss that's going to affect my life and buy my food sort of thing. It's one of the reasons why I've never really seriously considered going pro, even if I thought I might have the skill set to do so, which I'm not sure I do. But nonetheless, it's never really crossed my mind simply because I like the fact that at the moment it's a game that is about accumulating chips. And even in my bankroll, the dollars are really just it's game pieces. Once it goes into my PokerStars account, it's game pieces. And so I'm playing at a level where that's very much the case. So until I've made enough money playing poker where I can comfortably move up and still feel the same way in the higher stakes, I'm pretty happy playing at the micro stakes level, and I'm pretty comfortable. And I like the competition. I find it's um, there's certainly places where you can find good enough competition with it as well. So we're in Raz here. I'm really only in because nobody raised my bring in. I'm probably getting out fairly quickly given the opportunity. That said, everybody else is drawing out just horribly. We're on a 5-4 ace 3 card at the moment, which could easily be the best. The Jack is probably not going to be ahead of 420 here, but I mean we're definitely drawing to the best hand, so we can't go anywhere. Do we want to bet? I don't think a value bet is really. We're absolutely calling at this point because we're drawing into a hand that's ahead of J. Uh, I mean, 420 right now is on a 9 at best, and 7 is the best he's drawing into. We're drawing to a 5. So, I mean, I don't think we can go anywhere. So we're on a 75, and a 7 is the best hand he can be on. I think we're betting, and I think we're maxing out. If he wants to max out with us, I think we're maxing. I think we're maxing this out. Yep. Not surprised that we took that one down. It was just not developing well. It's always nice to take one down that you bring in on. It's always a good feeling. It almost inevitably means that somebody else has drawn out really badly, so they're feeling crappy at this point. Because I mean that was a pretty brutal drought for whatever it was that 420 was playing. Um, but that's the way that Raz goes. That's the way the Raz cookie crumbles, and you got to be able to roll with those punches. I joked the other day in chat that I think somebody asked who invented Raz, and I joked that it was the Marquis de Sade that invented Raz because he was trying to come up with an ingenious new torture method. And what better torture method can you think of than forcing people to play Raz for hours and hours and hours on end? I think that would be one of the most exquisite forms of torture you can think of. And this from a guy that actually chooses to sit down and play Raz for hours at a time occasionally. Certainly the 3-6 is playable here, but I think I could fold just as easily as well. God, you hate folding two aces pretty much no matter what kind of poker you're playing, but sometimes you just got to do it. And when you're playing Raz, it's one of those times. Although two aces is one of the pairs that you could, in theory, play uh, in Raz, but not with a jack combined with that. That's the part that really makes that horrible. Ace Ace Deuce, you could absolutely be you'd be jumping into that with both feet in many cases. Um, but no, I mean Ace Ace Jack. That's going to be a fold, 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 fold. Yeah, I suppose that's true, Hammer, and I think that that's the way that I've always figured it. I mean, I haven't started really. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I have. I literally started out playing 25-cent buy-ins, where that was the only thing that I felt was within my bankroll. Um, and anytime I played like a 110 or a 220, um, like a 110 or a 220, which hand are you talking about there, Hammer? Oh, the one where he had the nines up. Yeah, I should have a look at that. Let us have a look there. That one is. J420 mucked 8-5-9-9 deuce queen. So he was on a queen. No, he was on a 9-8-7-5 deuce. So he was playing a 98. Very good point. Very good point. Very good point. I do think actually Raz is one of the easiest poker games, probably the easier out there. The combinations and permutations are far less than other forms of poker in Raz. Um, Raz usually comes down not to who makes the best, most creative, most interesting moves. Raz comes down to who makes the least mistakes. Basically, you're expected to play Raz perfectly, and the person who plays the Raz game as close to perfectly as possible is the one who's going to win. It's less, unlike HoldEm or Parliament Omaha or someplace like that, it's less about making creative plays at certain spots, I think, and it's more about making sure that you don't make mistakes at crucial spots in Raz. The edge, I think, is much, 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 much smaller amongst the better players. Once you get to a certain level, again, because it's a case of not making mistakes as opposed to making good plays, making better plays than your opponent, the edge is really tiny in many of these cases. So, um, but I do think it's the simplest poker game to master because it's the one with the least number of possibilities. All you need is five low cards, right? I think playing the Raz final table of a WSOP event would be so brutal. Um, the the level of play would be just so crushingly perfect that I think the pressure not to make a mistake would be mind boggling, and much more so I think in that sense than no limit hold'em table or other kinds of things, just because the edge is so small in Raz, that you're would be sitting there looking around at seven other people who had just gone through the same 1,000 people that you had gone through, and played just as perfectly as you'd played to get to this point, and it'd be very it'd be very intimidating, I think, to sit down at something like that. And I would assume for everybody at the table, even somebody who's experienced in Raz, because being experienced in Raz means knowing that it's less a game of what you can do right and more a game of what you don't do wrong. Well, thank you, Hammer. I appreciate the confidence. I hope to be crushing the 215s by this time next year. That is the plan. Certainly, we've been working up into those higher stakes games. Steve-O. Steve-O, buddy. Sad. Steve-O, our friend of the stream, Steve-O is out in 25th, but yeah, he's been having rough times right from the start tonight. It's been pretty rough for him. He's been fighting a small stack right off the top. So Steve-O, good on you to last till after the first break, anyways. So hopefully, we'll be back again for the final day tomorrow, I suppose. I busted out of the high roller this morning, which was a $5 buy-in. I always bust out of the um, I always bust out of the I always bust out of the high rollers in these ones for some reason. I don't know why. I win the low buy-in events and I bust the high rollers, but oh well. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Philly boy has never made a poker mistake. Isn't that the truth? That's why he wins every tournament, right? Because he never makes a mistake and there's no luck. I don't know. I really am a fan of Helmuth though, because oh man, am I still running my? I'm still running my brake software. That's hilarious. Oops. Like 15 minutes in, and I've still got my brake software going. Um, I'm actually a fan of Helmuth, though, to a large degree. And I mean, all you really have to do is look at his WSOP record, and the dude is a Hold'em beast. I mean, and let's be clear, not necessarily a Hold'em beast in the 80s or the 90s or even the 2000s. He's been a Hold'em beast in every single one of those decades and is a Hold'em beast in this decade as well, according to the WSOP record. I do think that as time goes on, he's going to get more bracelets in the low entry, high buy-in non-Hold'em events, most likely, like the Razes and the Studs and the high lows and things like that, most likely the mixed games. But I mean, I also think that in the high buy-in Hold'em events, he is going to be holding his own and has held his own. He is a good tournament poker player. Um, so I think he's we can laugh and make fun of him, but I am certainly a fan, and I like to give him his credit because the dude certainly his record at the WSOP speaks for itself. Yeah, we'll all be crushing them then. You betcha. That's the plan. Well, and I definitely think that I should be focusing less on Hold'em and more on the other games. Not even considering the stream, but just considering my bankroll stuff because I do feel like I have an edge in a lot of them. I do feel like I have an edge. Not the 8 game less than horse, but definitely the mixed games. I feel like I've got an edge in a lot of the stud high low and the Raz games. I definitely feel like I've got an edge in the Omaha high low stuff now. I definitely feel like Badoogie is something that I can compete in at a fairly high level. Um, well, I mean, again, if we're all meeting each other, three-handed at the final table of these 215s, I'm sure we can work out equitable swaps. You know, I'm sure that's not going to be an issue. I'm sitting fourth in chips now. 24 people left since Stevo is sadly finished. Yeah, I mean, I think Helmuth is. I like Helmuth. He's great to watch. He's super entertaining. He's great for poker. He's he's fun to watch, and I think people make fun of him, and he even plays into that to a certain degree by um, by playing back and sometimes generating the controversy and yapping back at other people and things like that. And but I think at the end of the day, he wants to be pointed at and looked at and to a certain extent even made fun of and satirized, and because you can't be a guy who shows up at the WSOP main event dressed as Caesar with a bunch of slaves around you, or coming in on a chariot, or whatever the half a dozen or dozen bizarre entrances he's made to the main event have been. You can't do those sorts of things without having a secret desire for people to point and laugh, right? Because that's the whole reason that you'd be doing that sort of thing. Um, and I think that if the world suddenly stopped laughing at him, he wouldn't quite know what to do with himself. He wouldn't quite know what was going on, and he'd be a little weirded out by the fact that nobody was paying attention anymore. So I think I certainly think the part of the quote unquote hate for Phil Hellmuth is something that Phil Hellmuth feeds intentionally, for the sake of the whole Phil Hellmuth brand, I think, frankly. But I think he's absolutely great for poker, and he's a wonderful, he's entertaining to watch. His record at WSOP speaks for itself, and there's very few other people who are as recognizable in the game at the moment, I think, other than Helmuth. Into the no limit hold'em phase. This is usually where I lose all my chips. Yeah, agreed, Hammer. When you're playing games like 8 game, and you can play everything competently, you've got a huge edge even over people who are super good in one game and then are barely competent in the other ones, or not competent at all in the other ones. You know, yeah, knowing which game you're playing, very important in the mixed games. I agree, especially the ones where they have a bunch of stud games one after another, or a bunch of Omaha games one after another that change how you have to play your hands. It's very important to watch those. Going from Raz to stud in the horse games, I find is super, super, super dangerous if you're not paying attention. I find I'm often 6 streets into a Raz hand before I realize that we've switched to stud already, and I should not be 6 streets deep in the hand. And it's always an awesome Raz hand too that you're building there when you finally on 6th Street look up and realize that you're in the stud round. It's like, ah, crap. I mean, I'm drawing into a 5 here. Come on, guys. What are you doing to me? Eight game, I'm less. I wouldn't say I like it less, just that I know I'm not as good at it because the No Limit Hold'em and the Pot Limit Omaha phases are definitely my weak spots. Um, but yeah, I agree. Now that he's keeping his head down and focusing on poker, he's doing a lot better. I think his life coach in recent years has really helped him balance his tilt a little bit as well because he still seems to the the modern tilts I've seen seem to be a little bit more theatric than before. They seem more heartfelt. So I think he's definitely mellowed in his old age as far as his tilting was concerned, because that was always one of the biggest issues, is that if he could get under his skin, he was pretty often he was going to punt his chips off to you. Or so it appeared from watching on TV. I've never played with the guy, obviously, so I don't know, but I think this is a fairly nice looking hand, and feel, oh, there's straight possibilities, two flushes. They're not the best flushes in the world, obviously, but I think for a cheap pot, it's worth seeing a flop on. Well, that went rather poorly. Not much I can do here other than just check behind and see what else happens. It's basically gone really badly. Yes, actually hitting the Badugi is definitely a skill that we all need to improve on. I think certainly I do. Um, I was a little surprised actually today with how often people were winning with 4 cards, because 4 card Badugis, you don't actually need a 4 card Badugi a lot of times to take down the pot. A good 3 card is going to take the pot down. It should be taking the pot down a reasonable amount of time and Badugis. And today, when I was watching that 10 game, that just wasn't happening. But I don't know. You came in third, Hammer, so you couldn't have done too bad. Not in Badugi. That seemed like a rather poor choice to play for a deuce to 7, so I folded it. Another hand I'm going to be getting rid of. Or they could just give me the chips. That's, always going to be nice. I was going to fold that hand, honestly, but hey, if they want to give me the chips, I'm going to take them. Probably should have drawn a 5-ace to that and see what happens with the 8 deuce 5, but don't need to either, really. I'm not playing a ton of these hands, obviously, but I don't really think that they're. I mean, that one might have some value with the 5, but it's just the 5-6 really that's only, and even that's not, playing to the nuts. So I think in triple draw, one of the key things to be looking for is that you should always be drawing into something that's very close to the nuts or could hit the nuts. In this case, I don't want to just draw one of my 3s into the 10-8. That's really not going to pay off much. What I probably want to do if I'm going to play this is draw 3 into my 3-4, which is drawing 3 into the nuts. And if I hit any other nut cards, then try to improve it from there, is, I think, the strategy to employ. So 1 and 2, we're making it 3. We've hit 2 nut cards, which we're pretty happy about, 7 deuce. So we're looking for a 5 when we throw our jack here. Obviously, so 1, 1, and 1. We're looking for a 5, but if we get an 8 or a 6, we're probably going to be happy with it. An 8, I think we're happy with an 8. 87, 432. There's, obviously there's the nuts, there's 76s that are going to beat us there. And then there's 86s that are going to beat us there. But when they check to us, I think we have to put money in the pot and assume that we're going to be best when we pat. There's just no other, Yeah, I was noticing you were kicking ass in the triple draw in the deuce to 7. That was right. So Lewis draws 1. I'm patting and betting. That was fun to commentate on you this afternoon, Hammer. That was good. It's nice to watch you go deep in one of those. You're always watching me go deep. It's nice to watch you go deep. Welcome everyone to the stream. Got a few new viewers popping in. Welcome to Anything But Hold'em. We are playing an 8 game at the moment. It is a very low stakes 8 game. It's an 11-cent 8 game, but I have to say this is probably one of the toughest micro stakes games on Stars. The people in this home game are very good at poker for the most part. Not necessarily, they're mostly Hold'em specialists, I will say, but they're certainly very good at poker. Um, so it's a lot of fun, and it's actually a series that's playing for 12 days of Christmas. We're playing 12 days of events, 48 total events, and we get points for all the events through it, and top 10 in points get tickets to bigger buy-in events, $22 for first, $11 for second, that sort of thing. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a good time. It's a really cheap buy-in, but like I say, it's some of the toughest micro stakes games on Stars. We've rolled around to the front of the 8 game again. Through the deuce to 7 in the limit Hold'em. I'm much better at the front end of the 8 game than I am at the ass end of the 8 game. A deuce, a 7, and 1 or more babies. That actually makes very good sense. What's your thought on me drawing into the 3-4 there, Hammer? Right here. I'm curious what your thoughts on that hand were, because I didn't really take your advice. I mean, I think I got super lucky when I drew 3 and got back a 7 deuce. That's got to be a fairly fortunate draw, I'm thinking, in deuce to 7, and he says that sarcastically, knowing that it's very unlikely that you'll get that good of cards back when you throw 2 away. But yeah, I'm curious what you think of the 3-4 there. If discarding 3 there is the way to go, or if I should have maybe kept an 8 there. I think it was a 10-8 that I got rid of along with the pair. But yeah, that was this one. So let's have a look at this one. Yeah, I got to fold the Jack 3. Yeah, I mean, so I threw away a 10 and 8 and my paired 3. So I guess I could have kept an 8 and just threw away the 10 and the paired 3. Well, cool. I'm glad we could help you. I'm glad the stream could help you make a few bucks over on Tilt there. That's awesome. Yeah, it's good bones. Whereas I started that hand with the mushy kind of middle section. This is a fairly pretty Omaha high-low hand. I think the ace-3 is going to be strong a lot. Obviously, the ace-2's got it capped, but depending on what flops, that can change fairly quickly. I think that the ace-ace makes it strong enough for me to put a raise in at this stage, despite being grossly out. Well, that's a moderately good flop for my hand, he says sarcastically. Or rather, in an understated way, I suppose, because it's actually not sarcastic, because that's a fucking awesome flop for my hand. You sort of hope somebody's playing an ace king there because you're basically capping the betting on every round with them if that's the case. So sitting in second position now, 21 people left. Got a $1.13 up top. So that's 10x our buy-in, pretty decent. Fifth place min cash is 22 cents, twice the buy-in. Yeah, seems you're probably right, Steve-O. I got lucky in that particular hand, but looking back at the way that the hand went, I threw away 3 cards and got back, of those 3, I got back 2 that were perfect. They were exactly 2 of the 3 cards I was looking for. So I mean that's fairly unlikely. Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, always position, always position, always position. It's just like real estate, location, 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 position, position, position. I like the 3-4 and the pair of 4s here. 3-4 can turn into a very strong low hand depending on what flops. I don't think you should necessarily count on that, but that's one of the reasons that you raise it pre trying to take the option to get the fold equity in as well. So I think that probably added together makes it the proper play. I think calling here and trying to see a flop, you're not going to hit the flop often enough. We've obviously slammed the flop at this point, and we're pretty happy about that. But you're not going to hit flops often enough to pay off here. So I think you need to raise and get that fold equity in as well pre-flop with a hand like this. I'm still thrilled, obviously, at this point. I've got a set of 4s, drawing 2 full houses. So nothing paired, so nothing gave us a full house, but we've still got a set of 4s, and 10 jack hit a straight on the 9, but that's really the only draw that came in that I can see on the river. Do I need to value bet this? I suppose I can. I suppose I need to. Yeah, I think I do need to value bet this, frankly. Looking at Easy's stack, he's got a small stack. I need to put pressure on him. And yeah, I think that I need to do that. And it gives me a chance to hide what I'm playing, so he doesn't know how strong I am or how weak I am there. So we got some bankage going on. We got some bankage. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Pretty Raz hands. Pretty Raz hands. Pretty Raz hands. Ace 4-6, obviously the sort of hands that Raz players wake up to wet dreams about in the middle of the night. Very, 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 very pretty hand. There's only a couple hands that are prettier than that. They would all have cards 5 or lower in them. 3 cards 6 or lower is a pretty darn good place to start, though, when you're playing Raz. 8-5-4 is not a terrible place to start either, but I think given all the aces and deuces behind me, I'm just going to bring in, just call the bring in. It doesn't need to be as bad of a card as we know it actually is. It can actually look pretty strong for us. I think I'm still going to check behind on 4th to let us go to 5th. That, of course, looks like a gorgeous card, and is a gorgeous card for us. I mean, we're playing an 85 4 card at this point, which is not necessarily better than anybody else on the board, but it certainly it has a chance to be better than most of the other people on the board. The Queen 8 now is obviously not good. We need to draw into the 8 below the 8 in order to continue this hand afterwards. But I still think that because he doesn't know that I've paired my 5, and he doesn't know that I don't have a 5 card already with the 4. Yes, see, that's what I needed to bet there, because he does not know that I don't already have a good 5 card low hand. So the fact that I'm paired there and I don't actually have a hand, I just need to kind of close my eyes and say that doesn't matter. We need to put money in the pot, because he's going to think that we're playing a really strong low hand, and he's going to fold out. So yeah, see, I mean, you hit the flop. That's all that's all you do, right? If you get your money in a marginal spot, you just hit the flop. It's easy game. That was a pretty silly hand, I think, that uh, worked that out. But I like the fact that I can bet here, get him to fold, and not have to show that I'm playing a set of 4s, and not have to show what um, how that went down. Easy's too good a player to give free information to by checking back there. Not much going in Raz. Last couple of minutes been pretty crappy hands for me. Pretty crappy hands out there on the board as well for the moment. Looks like Easy's going to take this one though. He seems to be well in command. He's going to double up his stack. Looks like get everything in here and take it down. Oh no! Oh no! He bricks on 7th while 420 hits it. So we're down to 15 people left in this one. I am second behind Caesarian 123. And third, right behind me, is our buddy 420 over there in the top left corner. The cute little puppy dog. Trust me, he is not a cute little puppy dog. We have switched to stud. That means I should no longer be playing crap cards, and I should be looking for cards that have the same numbers and the same patterns on them. I think that's a fold in stud high game. No reason to get involved in that. One of the games I saw over at Full Tilt, actually, that I still want to get my feet into is 5-card stud. That looks like some fun. I'm guessing there's a fair bit less variance in that one. Well, not variance as far as, I mean, there's probably more variance as far as winning and losing is concerned. That's actually not what I meant at all. But there's, it's going to be like the stud games here where there's so much information on the board that there's very little room for, it's very easy for people to figure out how to play perfectly or very close to perfectly. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to find an edge, and the edge you find is going to be tiny. Thank you, Stevo. Thank you, Stevo. Much appreciated. Like I say, he did not know that my hand was bricked, so it definitely helps to play the boards the way they show. Jack Queen King is actually a fairly nice starting hand for stud. It's obviously the Broadway straight cards, good pair opportunities with that. So you're going to be involved in that most of the time. And the 5 of spades doesn't really help us too much coming on 4th Street. And it probably changes the hand enough that we just want to get out of there now. You really want to, on a situation like this where you're playing just kind of a bare rainbow straight, 3-card straights, you pretty much need to connect somehow with 4th Street. The only way that the 5 of spades is going to connect on 4th Street here is if I've got more than one spade back. That's the only way that I'm still going to consider playing with 5 there. Otherwise, it's got to be something that plays into the straight or that pairs one of those cards or something like that. Yeah, absolutely, Hammer. No, you're totally right with that. Yeah, it's a good table. It's good. This is a great group of people. I really like playing these home games. They're most of us genuinely have a ton of respect for the games of the other people. There certainly are differences from time to time between some people over style of play and choosing to play certain hands at certain times. But um, I did. There's everybody sort of understands that we're all aware of what's going on. So I like playing in these because it's just usually quite a bit of fun with friends, sort of thing. It very much it feels like a home game with friends. Happy Sap has come back from his long winter's nap with 593 chips left. I'm in first at the table, but I'm only in second at the uh, only in second overall, unfortunately. 420 is just a wee bit in front of me. Not sure if I should have the lobbies up still or not. Not sure how useful having the lobby is. It seems to take up real estate that I could use better for making the table more easily visible. I don't know. Let me know in chat what you think. Whether I should put the lobby window up or just leave it down. Stream is evolving. I'm definitely looking to move into higher stakes mixed games when we come back. Probably should have played the pair of aces there. That was pretty silly of me to fold that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I was in the middle of a thought and just kind of insta folded. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely going to try to get into move into higher stakes games next year, while still staying true to my bankroll management. That's important to me. Part of the part of the poker thing for me that's important is that it be a leisure activity for me and not something that puts stress on my life in any way. So it needs to be something where I'm always playing within a bankroll that really makes no difference to my life, right? So it has to be something that works into that. And that's why I try to work with the satellites and things like that. There you go. We're back in first now. That's cool. That's why I try to work with the satellites and why I don't just go buy into one of those $82 ones and try my hand out, because I just don't think I don't think that's the best use of my bankroll funds as far as my poker is concerned. Wow, people raising and re-raising, and I think I'll just get out of the way with my ace 3-9. I mean, the ace 3 is nice, obviously, but the 9, don't need to be involved with that. I can just let these guys fight it out. Ooh, Happy Saps. That's a nice. Getting all the hearts. Happy Sap's getting all the hearts. Happy Sap is not getting all the hearts anymore. Happy Sap is got 2 pair and splits the pot. Alrighty, we are on break one more time, so I'm going to put up the break sign and go off and do some custodial duties. Duties. Alrighty, I'll stop being a 12-year-old child as portrayed in cartoon form on the Family Guy, and I'll see you soon. Yes, 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 I am back. I am back. I am back here on Anything But Hold'em. We are playing 8 game at the PSO home game. It's an 11-cent buy-in. And yes, I bugger off as soon as Gilly shows up. We are back, however, now and talking. Yes, Hammer took down the 10 game today. I was in there. I got to 8th and got knocked out in 8th, but followed Hammer on the stream and streamed down to 3rd place. Definitely could have taken the tournament down. Got a string of really bad luck on the last couple of hands. Got bad beat a couple of times, just brutally. And yeah, I mean that's the way it goes sometimes. But you know how you could do. Yeah, yeah. She knows where I live. She'll track me down if she needs to. She'll track me down if she needs to. It was fun. I spent a lot of the day watching Jamie Staples stream today. He is doing really well. He's getting like 500, 600, 700 people every single day, sometimes capping 1,000 at times. Really looking forward to watching what he does. Um, yeah, she's my stalker. Gilly's my stalker. Third wife potential. No, no, no. I like Gilly way too much to make her my third wife, Josh. Can obviously play the 9-10 jack as a straight draw, but the low is already crippled, so yes, for the record, if people aren't aware, Gilly and I are both polyamorous, which means that we have very intimate relations with each other, but we also have very intimate relations with other people at the same time, and it's not an issue of um, cheating or being unfaithful to each other. It's an expected part of the relationship that uh, we love each other, but we also love other people. I don't know. It depends what kind of drugs you're talking about, Hammer. Uh, I think Josh is commenting on the fact that I told someone earlier that I was twice married and twice divorced, which gives me a perfect record. I've gone 2 for 2. Um, you'll get to the poly explanation shortly enough. 2 minutes left in the stud high low round. Gilly is definitely the one. No question about that, Josh. It's very cool to see people hanging out. Very, very cool. Hanging out with me here, playing the 8 game. I am sitting first out of 14 remaining in the 8 game. Just have a look at this. Howie Howitzer 2007 is just behind me, a couple of hundred chips behind me. But I am in second in the no limit hold'em phase. Going to be playing these 9s pretty aggressively, I think. Certainly if Trinity folds to me. It's a bit awkward if Trinity raises, being in the small blind out of position here. It's a bit awkward with what you do with a hand like 9s because you're racing a lot. You're crushed against the bigger pairs, and it's really just an ugly spot to sort of call. It's an ugly spot to call out of position, and you certainly can 3-bet it there, and that's probably your best bet if you want to play it. But it's just um, uh, yeah, I'm just not sure it's the sort of situation that can you get him to play good. Alrighty, so Trinity is tanking and sitting out. We're gonna raise these 9s. Clearly now it's much less awkward at this stage. No Limit Hold'em, of course, is both the most potentially lucrative phase of the game, also potentially the most dangerous phase of the game, of course. We've moved on to Pot Limit Omaha. That seemed like a really quick No Limit Hold'em round, but I think it's because Trinity timed out. That's right, because we sat and waited for Trinity to time out the whole time. So Pot Limit Omaha, we're not playing that. We'd be playing it potentially in a high-low situation, but not in a not in a, just a PLO high. Yes, 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 yes. I will try not to. I will try not to catch my goatee on fire. I think the Ace King is worth a raise here. I've got the spades, although it's not the nut spades, but it's. Yes, we are both poly, just the way it is. I don't think I've ever talked about it on the stream because it's not really poker relevant, right? So um, it's like people are sometimes shocked when they find out that Jason Somerville is gay because he never talks about it when he's on stream. But it's like, well, why should he talk about it on stream? Because it's kind of his stream's about poker, and being gay has nothing to do with playing poker. So, and what's great is that that's sort of the way the poker world relates to it as well, as far as he's concerned. It seems like, and that's just wonderful. And Vanessa Selps as well. I mean, it's just like, yeah, ho hum, you're gay. So what? What's the biggie? And that's really quite nice. I got to put them all in here. Oh wow, that is just brutal. That is just brutal. That is just brutal. Very good point, Hammer. That's a very, very, very good point, I've got to say. Sorry, I'm still reeling from that brutal beat by Kel on the river. I mean, that was just calling down like that was just atrocious, I think. But hey, I mean, what can you do? I want that calling down because um, that's going to pay me off big time most of the time, right? So, yeah, Hammer, that's actually a very, very, very good point. Jen is just part of the 25 game of my love life. I really like the no limit Irish phase of that 25 game of my love life. Oh, that's getting silly. Pot limit Omaha, we got spades and diamonds here. And folds to us. That's cool. We will take that. Raising this one. Pair of jacks. I think we're pretty happy with that. The diamonds as well. Of course, it comes spades instead. Still think the over cards are bettable there. Michael would appear to be a bit of a calling station. I'm going to have to bear that in mind, at least up to the flop. Seems to be a bit of a calling station at that point. Seems to be more circumspect, but we'll have to see how that goes. You know, basically the hand, when we got the higher straight, was just an example of calling you down to the 7th Street when you had no business calling, really. Oh, deuce to 7 triple. That's the sort of hand that you like to fold in deuce to 7 triple. There are no bones, there's no meat, there's nothing there for deuce to 7 triple. Yeah, pretty brutal, eh, Hammer? Pretty brutal. What can you do? What can you do? I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I want somebody like that calling me down like that because I'm getting value most of the time out of it, but it's just frustrating when they get there like that. Yeah, I suppose I shouldn't be too negative because he was on an up and down draw for most of the times he was calling, but still, it's he's definitely behind on all the times that he's putting the money in until the river, until the 7th. Yeah, well, no, he's totally open about it, Steve, no question. But it's not like he'll certainly answer questions about it, and if people in chat bring it up or whatever, he talks about it, and he's quite open about it. But he never, it's not something that he pushes really, and it's not something that he's really, it's when he's playing poker, it's got nothing to do with his poker, so it's not something that typically goes into the poker stream, and I think that's pretty cool. Down to 2 tables left here in the 8 game, 5th of 12 now. And I think being open is certainly important, and that's good too. But I also think that there's absolutely too much information syndrome, where people can say things about themselves that are completely unsolicited, that nobody else has any either interest in or even business having an interest in. So, I think that there's definitely a lot. Well, and it's yeah. I just think that you can absolutely volunteer too much information as well as being open is still a filtering process of not volunteering too much, I think. Draw to the nuts. Never a terrible place to be in triple draw, I don't think. We're still drawing two to the nuts. It's probably throwing money away to bet again. I think I'm getting called all the time. Given two draws on the last time. We'll throw two again. So at least better than pairing the deuce, but they're still pretty crappy cards for a deuce to seven. Well, TJ's down to one card. That's good for good for TJ. We're still drawing two. Ace nine. Yeah, this is not a hand we're likely to win very often. Yanni hits deuce to six. Brutal. Brutal hands. Yeah, I'd be curious to know more about Somerville's off-stream lifestyle, speaking of the bong hits. I really would be. Ace nine. It's a fairly nice hand, but I think I'm going to get rid of it in this spot with Joy raising in front. Oh well, got to be able to come back from getting donked in this game, or you're not going to go very far in poker. I think so. If you can't shake it off, move on, realize that there are going to be times when they get there, and just go on and play the next hand, make the same decisions because those are the right decisions, even in the cases when they get there, which is going to be fairly infrequently, but is going to happen. Ten-five. I can get rid of that fairly happily. Jack 4. We paired our 4 here. It's never going to be a terrible thing. I think we'll throw some money in the pot, make Meg play for her life if she wants to. She does not want to, so therefore we will take the chips in the middle. Yeah, I think he finds a great balance. I really do admire his stream. King 4, gonna get rid of that, I think. I don't know if the stream's been laggy for anybody or not. Gilly's complaining a bit that it's laggy for her. I think Twitch is probably kind of busy on a Saturday night. Lots of people streaming various games, whether it be poker or other things. It's nice to see some people hanging out. We got a few people in the chat. Got a few people watching the stream. What are we doing here? We're playing 8-game PSO home game. It's a pretty low buy-in at this point, but I think it's for the I like to call it the toughest micro stakes games on Stars because there's some pretty darn good poker players in here playing for 11-cent buy-ins. We play for fun, and we all know each other, so that makes it a lot more fun too, I think. And there's some ticket prizes that PokerStars puts up at the end of the day for us for the player of the series and so on. I actually have not seen him use a vaporizer on stream. I'll have to watch for that. I will have to watch for that. I have not seen him do that. Limit Omaha high low 500,000. I'm gonna fold that. My stack's not big enough to play with it. I like the queens, but there's no low possibilities, so you are crippling yourself. See you later, Gilly. This, on the other hand, is definitely one that I want to see flop with. We hit a set of fives. That's not always going to be good when there's 3 hearts on the board. And our low draw isn't that hot with the 7-4 either. But I think that now with the checks around on the all heart flop, I think that our fives are good almost all the time. And certainly fives full would be good all the time on this board, or most of the time, given that action. Bounced up to third. In chips now, 10 left after we knocked Meg out. GG, Meg, GG. This is high-low, so we're definitely putting money in the pot with an ace deuce and an ace diamonds. Oh yeah, we're back into it again, folks. We're back in. This is not a high-low hand. This is possibly a pot limit Omaha high hand, but it is not a hand that you want to play in a high-low game of any sort whatsoever. There's no low possibility whatsoever, and yes, you do have high probabilities, but you're throwing away half your hand to start with. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that, doing the cash heads up stud high low, and it's quite funny because he's talking about how it's like you have a complete break even sort of thing, but yet he still goes and does it. I certainly wish that he was on a site where I could sit down at a stud high low table with him. That would be a crap load of fun, I think. I would love to do that. I would totally love to do that. I wish he was around. Um, I'm hoping that as the year moves on, next year I'm going to be able to do some collaborations, hopefully with Jamie Staples as well. That will be cool, I think. He says he loves 8 game, so I think we could probably entice him into doing some commentary on an 8 game perhaps at some point, or coming and playing with us in an 8 game and doing it on stream. So that'll hopefully be something that we can do as time goes on. Deuce 3. May as well cap out here, I guess. Obviously not the greatest flop in the world. But at this point, I'm going to obviously keep calling because I do have a low draw. And we hit the low draw and split the pot. Pretty happy about that. Well, reasonably happy about that. Could play this under the gun. I don't think it needs to get played for sure. So to the Raz phase. Which is often the one in these, especially in these home games, this is the one where I feel I've got the biggest edge. And again, as I've said earlier, that's in Raz, that's often a case of not so much making really good Raz plays. It's just a case of making fewer mistakes. So I think that I just identify the spots more often, and I see where I'm ahead and behind more often than uh, other um, folks. Thank you very much. Yes, that was a nice little binkage there to put me back into a reasonable spot. This will be a bring in fold, I think, in a Raz situation. To continue with this would basically mean that you're thinking you're going to win with a 9, and that's rarely going to happen in a Raz context. So, I mean, it's going to happen sometimes, but it's rarely going to happen in a Raz context. So just bring in fold is usually the way to go with something like that. This one, on the other hand, we're absolutely raising if it folds to us. We're absolutely calling if Joy brings in, and when Joy brings in, we're still absolutely raising. The deuce just looks way too strong here. And yeah, that's going to happen way too often for us not to be raising our deuce there. This is a bring and fold sort of hand in a Raz context. Counting on a 7 as your best possible hand is slightly better than counting on a 9 as your best possible hand, but it's still not something that you want to be saying right from the start of the hand. Yeah, I would certainly love to be able to sit down at a table with him where it's live for both of us or legal for both of us to play at the same place. That'd be kind of fun for cash. I actually really want to meet him. He's one of the people in poker that I really want to meet and have a beer with, and not so much. I mean, I'd love to play poker against him as well, but I'd definitely love to sit down and have a beer and maybe have dinner and chat, talk other stuff than poker specifically. Well, I mean, certainly talk streaming and talk internet stuff and talk all sorts of geeky stuff. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think he'd be one of the one of the more fun people to hang out with um, in the poker world. I think there's other people that um, look like they might be fun, but you analyze a couple of layers deep and you realize that you're always going to be on the gamble with them. They're always going to be trying to get something out of you, that sort of thing. I not really getting that. I wouldn't really get that out of Jason, I don't think. Um, but who knows? Alrighty, Hammer. Much appreciated for you hanging around. I really, really, really appreciate your support. It is very much noticed and very much appreciated. Thank you for coming around again. And I know it's super late for you, so we very much appreciate you hanging out with us. Good night, and we will see you again probably tomorrow afternoon with the weekly round 2. You see one more street here. That street is ugly, so we're going to fold it now when he bets. Although Joy has paired as well, which means if I know Joy, she might not bet. I'm probably still going to check behind. Yeah, when she bets, I've got to just fold. Just got to fold. Just gotta fold. Just gotta fold. I'm sorry I should not assault your ears with my horrible singing. That is very unprofessional of me. It's important to notice that we've moved on to the stud phase, so you don't think that 853 is a potentially playable hand. This is an important part of knowing how to play mixed games, recognizing that you are no longer playing the same game you were playing last hand. Sitting pretty deep. We're going to be, I guess it's still a ways away from our final table. It'll be final table. We're obviously six-handed in 8 game. So another couple of people, and we'll be at the final table. I am fourth of 8 at the moment remaining. Oh, it looks like third of 7 now, so we are on the bubble for the final table now. 5 places pay, so once we're on the final table, there will be another bubble for the money. So getting pretty close, getting pretty close. Of course, the money in these is pretty small when you're buying in for 11 cents. It is pretty small, but part of what we're playing for in all of these is the player of the series points. Top 10 in that race end up getting real money tickets for various stars. Well, actually, no, just real money tickets. Number 1 player of the series gets a $22 ticket. Second in points gets an $11 ticket. Goes all the way down to people in, I think, 8th, 9th, and 10th get a $1.10 ticket, if I'm not mistaken. And very much, varies in between here. Alrighty, so we've bounced onto the final table here at here in the 8 game. So we're in the money bubble. Folding here. Alrighty, so in a situation like this, we don't want to be too cautious and miss opportunities to grab chips, but we definitely want to pay attention to PokerStar and TJ because they need to act before we do in order to finish in the money in this tournament. So that, like I say, we don't want to miss opportunities, but equally, it's important to know that there's other people with more ICM reason to be moving than we have at the moment. I do like the mixed games a lot. I obviously like the off Hold'em games. That's why I'm running a stream called Anything But Hold'em. Not that I have anything against Hold'em. I've covered this in other streams. I mean, I play tons of Hold'em and I love Hold'em. It's just that uh, nobody else was really doing streams about 8 game and Raz and Stud High Low and Padoogie and things like that. So I figured fill a market, fill a hole. If there's a hole to fill, I'll fill it. And that sounded wrong, but don't take it the wrong way. Take it the way that I meant it, which was a market niche hole to fill. um, and um, we're gonna do our thing, and play the games that I both enjoy, and I'm not seeing streamed elsewhere. So that's what the whole anything but Hold'em. Uh, that's what the whole anything but Hold'em thing is all about. Alrighty, stud high low. This is not a particularly good stud high low hand. We're starting 2 cards down from the beginning. The pair of threes is never really going to be a terribly strong high hand, so I think that getting rid of that most of the time is going to be your best play. I'm still sitting fourth, and both TJ Vancouver and PokerStar are 671. Need to move before I do if they want to cash in this tournament. So for the time being, I'm fairly content to sit on my stack and watch, treat this as a satellite style tournament, and wait to see what TJ and PokerStar do. That's obviously not a permanent situation, and may not last past this hand because this hand may decide the fate between TJ and PokerStar. That would be awesome if that was the case. If one of them decimated the other one, it would technically put me in last place, but it would give me it would put me in the money. Looks to be what's going to happen. One of them is going to decimate the other. Although it could be a split pot. Doesn't look like it's going to be split. Nice. Alrighty, so PokerStar is done. TJ Vancouver has knocked him out, and we are in the money. I am now a small stack, fifth in chips, but I'm in the money, so going to start to open up again, I think. The queen is a strong hand. We do have a deuce to draw out on low if we need to. Granted, we're going runner to do that, but, can happen. And is happening, so going to keep putting money in the pot. There's a chance that Joy will just fold out on us a couple of times. And, if we can draw out a low here, I mean, I think we're just going to put our money in because we're this deep in the pot anyways. We have a pair of queens. We have a draw to a low hand that could potentially scoop this pot. And we're in the money, so it's all gravy at this point anyway. So we're putting our money in and we're hoping for the best on 7th. Just got a pair of, but we did draw out for low anyways. So we got a half pot. That's cool. I'll live with that. I'll work with that. Welcome, 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 everybody, to the Saturday Night 8 game here on Anything But HoldEm.